afternoon to all of you. Today, within the limited timeline of 15 minutes, I'll be presenting some studies that we have initiated from CAHO. As you all know, the consortium of accredited healthcare organizations, we have grown from strength to strength because of all our stakeholders, a lot of partners with us. So we thought we'll initiate a couple of studies involving the hospitals and our CPQH. So this is one such study that we initiated. The data analysis hasn't been complete, but we thought it's good that if we can present this to all of you, because our title today, for the theme of the conference, is Quality Should Impact Outcomes. So let's look at what you all think, whether quality and accreditation is impacting outcomes at all. So that's going to be our study, okay? The aim of the study was to understand the perception of hospital staff on accreditation, to understand the perception of the doctors, nurses, and administrators of accredited hospitals on the impact of accreditation, and whether years of accreditation has any impact on their perception at all. So we initiated this study. We had a brainstorming session. We put together about 13 points for the study. And this was validated. A small trial run was done. And we sent the Google Forms in our WhatsApp groups. Believe me, in 48 hours, we had 450 responses. And that really showed that people are really interested in knowing what the outcomes are going to be. So the data, total number of responses, we had about 450. Valid data was about 415 because a couple of questions were not answered. And doctors, nurses, and administrators answered to the questions. Accredited hospitals, we had 347 respondents. Non-accredited, about 68. Category, this is how it is split: doctors, nurses, administrators. And 1 to 4 years of accreditation, that's the number. More than 4 years, that's in front of you. Overall, whether the hospital was accredited or not, this is a combination of both accredited and non-accredited hospitals. If you look at it, we asked 30 questions. I'm not going to go into all the 30 questions. And we asked, it was in the form of statement. Accreditation, patient education has improved. That was the question. And it was 5-point scale. And it's very interesting to see that the response for all the questions that we had asked is more than 80%, which means 80% of the respondents have agreed to the parameters that we have asked. And interestingly, managing emergencies, internal emergencies, patient safety aspects, safety and equipment maintenance, incident reporting, infection control practices, all those were more than 90%. Facility maintenance, biomedical waste segregation, has it improved or not? Nursing documentation improvement, laboratory management, equipment management, signage in the hospital, nurses' awareness on clinical policies and protocols, all these had more than 90% agreeing that there is improvement seen. Now this is the overall table in front of you. Then we decided, let's look at the doctors, nurses versus the administrators. Because predominantly the administrators who answered to these questions were quality managers and some CEOs. So we looked at it critically, and we did do a statistical analysis of that. It's interesting to see that we did not see much of a difference. We clubbed the doctors and nurses together and the administrators separately. If you look at the results, it is not showing significance. And most of the, in percentages, it is almost similar. Patient education, patient satisfaction has improved, waiting time, reporting time, respect to patients and their rights, emergencies, patient safety-related issues, equipment maintenance, everything. And there's no significance seen. But if you look at clinical documentation, it is interesting that doctors and nurses, 89% of them agreed that there is improvement in clinical documentation, whereas the quality managers and administrators, it is only 79%, and that showed significance. So obviously, while, I don't know how to interpret this really, but in a way, to look at it, it's that while you're auditing, while the quality managers are looking at it, their expectations are far too much compared to actually what the doctors and nurses perceive as good documentation. Now coming to the next one, the other 10 questions, we really did not see much of significance anywhere at all. It's almost similar. Whether it's doctors, nurses, and the administrators, it is similar. Then we looked at 1 to 4 years versus 4 and above years of accreditation. If you look at this, it's quite interesting. 1 to 4 years, the hospital has just got accredited, probably faced one round of surveillance and a renewal, re-accreditation. Whereas greater than 4 years, the culture probably has set in, the hospital has become mature, and they've faced enough number of accreditation. If you look at it in percentages, all the parameters from 1 to 4 years and more than 4 years have shown improvement. But those are not significant actually. But incident reporting and the awareness of staff on incident reporting is significant. If it's an organization which is 1 to 4 years of accreditation, that's showing 90% have agreed, whereas greater than 4 years, 94% have agreed. So obviously with the culture and the maturity of the organization, these incident reports and the awareness of reporting is becoming more open. The culture is improving. People are not scared anymore. The punitive actions are probably not taken. And we could obviously say that there is a culture being established. Now coming to general cleanliness, facility management, biomedical waste segregations, everywhere we see improvement. I mean, percentages agreeing to that there is improvement. But when it comes to laboratory management, 1 to 4 years versus greater than 4 years, it's significant. Between 1 to 4 years, the number of respondents who have agreed to that is about 89%, whereas 96% beyond 4 years. Now this is interesting because the previous study that we presented last year had clearly brought out if the laboratory is accredited, then the improvement seen within the hospital is more. So obviously, just by NABH, it really doesn't help. It is more into getting your own laboratory accredited, and that obviously is having some kind of significance in getting good quality practices in place. Now coming to staff awareness, awareness on occupational health issues, roles and responsibilities, all those, yes, there is improvement, but the KPI capturing and improvement in outcomes, that is interesting because from 87% to 95% agreeing. Now when we go for assessments, this is the same thing that we notice. In the first assessment, it is just capturing numbers. The system is just setting in, people are just worried about getting numbers, and eventually, as the organization matures, particularly when you go for the renewal assessments, the culture of going into root cause analysis, corrective actions, preventive actions, looking at trends, and also the way of capturing data shows a lot of improvement. People understand the intent of capturing the data. So with years of experience, we really see improvement as assessors when we go, which is also reflecting in the study that we have done. Once again, this is just a perception study. It's from 450 people that we have collected this study sample. But I think we have to do a lot of research to really understand whether quality and accreditation is really having some impact on outcomes. But this is not a real outcome measure, but we really wanted to understand what the perception is when it comes to accreditation. And thank you very much all the respondents for taking part in this survey. We wish to analyze this more because we've collected a lot of data in this survey. We really want to do proper statistical analysis and try and publish this study. And if you are interested in taking part in some of these, or you have some ideas that we could take part in, we are more than happy to collaborate and start a couple of studies because that is exactly what is needed today to establish that quality improves outcomes. This is just the beginning. And last time we presented the audit on the surgical site marking that we have done. We are preparing a white paper on the same. So please come forward. Let's join together. The synergy is what is most important. Let's start some initiatives on doing some research and publishing them. Thank you very much for the wonderful opportunity given.